All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm running a little late today, so I need to do this really quickly. So our trade plan, thankfully, is the same as last night, so we don't have to make any changes to it. Holding above 64, we're looking for 85 and then 7,000, 999 to be exact. 36, holding below that, we're looking for 08 and 67. That is the value retrace of Tuesday. As long as we are between these two levels, we are just trading as a micro pullback, and we are trading as a D-shape balance, looking for those rotations. Okay, same levels on NASDAQ. Above 406, we're looking for 500 and 600. Below 229, we're looking for 75 and 870. That is the retrace of Tuesday. So while we are inside of this value here, you are trading like a micro pullback. So you are looking for rotations. You do have a slight bullish bias because of yesterday's P shape. So far, not respecting VWAP, which is good. That means that it is respecting the micro pullback. Typically, those micro pullbacks trade like D shapes, so you don't really respect VWAP too much. You kind of just cut through it. One thing that's not great today is our liquidity is going down again. So we had really good liquidity yesterday, but now we're seeing a lot of blue orders, probably trading like 20, 30 contracts per tick. Yesterday we were like 50 to 60 contracts per tick. So it was doing a lot better yesterday. Good morning, everybody. You want a future, ordinary, Trevor, Brian, Ike, Jose, Scott, Luis, Banana, Go Satachi, Roman, Ram, Darius, Larry, Ollie, Mr. Crab, Faraj, Julio. Good morning, Sid, Hybrid, DT, Igor, Angelo, eBay, Adam, Liquidated, Brent. Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, AT, Greg. Good morning, Orion, Tom, Jad, Wally, Damer. Good morning, Jason, Peter, Leo. Come on, a rider, Joe, Adriana. Here's the trade plan for you guys. Pretty bottom heavy candle, just rotating for now. So keep an eye on that 36 level if it wants to do the entire rotation. You're only about halfway there. It's a pretty big rotation. It's about 30 points. 64 to 36. Oh yeah, NVIDIA earnings. I wanted to go over that. So NVIDIA is actually going down on earnings, even though their earnings were pretty good. I posted it yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. So revenue was about 76.4 to 79.5. They were estimating around 73, so they beat. Gross margin was 75.2. Data center revenue was good. Networking revenue was good. Gaming revenue was bad, but their gaming revenue is like non-existent anymore. Like compared to their actual revenue, it's like less than 5%. It would not surprise me if they just completely left the gaming space in the next few years. I think the only reason they have not left the gaming space is that's kind of like where they started. It's kind of like a passion thing now. I mean, they're still making billions of dollars. Don't get me wrong. It's still doing all right. But it's less than 5% of their overall revenue. But that'd be pretty crazy if they left the gaming space. It would basically allow AMD to just dominate. How much of those earnings are circular deals? Well, that's the problem. That's most likely why they're going down. They were talking about, in their conference call, one of those deals not even being finalized, one of the big deals. So yes, it is a bunch of circular bullshit. That's the big problem with the market right now. It's propped up with these circular funding deals that are not actually doing anything. We've gotten into a pretty weird market where their word is more powerful than their actions, right? All these companies saying they're going to do something gets massive moves on the stock market, but them actually doing anything, it's like, are they actually putting this into what they said, putting it into action? That was a big thing back in the crypto days. Back in like 2018, 2020. All these crypto companies saying that they were going to do XYZ. Their crypto coins would go crazy. And then did they actually do anything? No. And that type of environment is almost always an environment like this, where the liquidity is really bad, and the volatility is very high. Because it's all speculation. There's nothing concrete. Good morning, Fable. Good morning, Lumir, Maverick. Music. Appreciate you guys being here. Still rotating, looking for the mid 30s. Mid 30s will finish that retrace. We are finishing it on NASDAQ already. We're finishing today's retrace already, but yesterday the rotation goes down to 36. Now remember what I talked about, I think it was a week or two ago. And we made that recap video talking about these untested P-shaped tails. When you have them back to back like this, it creates an environment that makes shorts very attractive to repair those lower tails. So this weakness here is definitely not a great sign. Now, 2 back-to-back is not the biggest deal. Typically, it's like 3, 4, 5, like anything above 3. But these two are definitely very clean P-shapes. No upper tails. Very weak lower tails that have not been tested whatsoever. So it does make shorting pretty attractive for the swing traders. Not so much a scalping environment, but the swing trading environment is definitely more attractive for the sellers. I didn't make a recap this Tuesday because there really wasn't a whole lot to recap. But I might make one today. We'll see how today goes. Because I can recap the range breakout and then I can talk about what I just talked about the P-shaped tails again. So we'll see how today goes. Possibly a recap coming out later today. I'm going to be pretty busy the next few days, though. I'm actually going to be taking like half days the next couple of days. So the stream will be normal, but I won't be streaming all day in Discord. Today I'm getting off probably around like 1-ish, and then tomorrow probably about the same time, probably like 12 to 1. Got a lot of stuff I need to get done over this weekend. And I did talk to my editor. He's actually going to be very busy the next few weeks, but he said he might have time to put out like maybe 1 or 2 shorts over the next week or two. And then after that, probably be like 3 or 4 shorts. But for now, we'll probably do like 1 or 2 if he has time. I told him just whenever he's got free time. It's basically just bonus content for the stream. It's not like we don't need him every single day. So it's not exactly single prints, Roman. It's kind of the same idea, though. If you think about lower tails, or just tails in general, very often tails are weak value. They're like LVNs, right? If you think about what a single print zone is, very often it's a long zone of weak value, an LVN, right? And you have that whole idea with the auction theory that the value needs to be retested to see if there's actually value there. If it's still a zone of rejection. That's kind of the same idea with these lower tails that need to be repaired. And I can pull that up here so you can have an image for this. Look at the low value. It's a very low value. So we need to determine, like, is that actually an area of rejection? If it came down and retested it and then shot back up, then obviously they're still rejecting that and they want to create higher value. But what happens if you have these like back to back to back is you'll typically see a strong sell-off to go test that value, and you'll grab that resting liquidity that is either in the tail or below the tail. And we saw that happen. I actually made a video before this sell-off. I think we made the video, it was either the Tuesday or the Wednesday here. And that's exactly what happened. These lower tails, mainly this tail right here, this tail on Friday, very weak tail, it aggressively was retested. You came back down and you shot down and retested that value. You didn't get the entire retest, but it did retest most of it. And that's kind of the problem with what we're seeing right here. And I'm going to mark that as one of our shorts. What time is it? 9:47? Is my screen going to be shared while I'm away? No, because I'm going to be using my PC for work. I say work, it's going to be mostly like tax stuff. And I don't want to be sharing my screen while I'm doing tax stuff. Yeah, the dreaded season of tax season. Briefly explain how to read TPOs. I can't really briefly explain it. You would have to watch my market profile videos. So either my, by the way, here's 36. Either my part 4 of the new series or my video called How to Trade Market Profile. There's just too much to really explain. It's not really a brief concept. In the simplest way that I could just give you a little snippet right now is every box is a certain value of points. Think of like a Renko chart. So every box on my chart is 2 points. So every little box here is 2 points. And then the other way to look at it is every letter is just a 30-minute candle. Notice how this candle is exactly the same as this box right here. It's because every letter is a 30-minute session. So the A session is from 9:30 to 10. The B session is from 10 to 10:30, so on and so forth. So you're literally just reading this as a 30-minute candle that is broken down into point bars. That's all that it is. But there's a lot more that goes into it, a lot more concepts and trading concepts and whatnot. Like I said, go watch my videos. But that's how to read like the most basic form. Think about it as a 30-minute candle broken down into points. Now, not everybody uses 2 points. That's just my personal way of doing it. Most people just leave it on auto and they let the system just do it automatically. Yeah, my favorite time of year, exactly. Yeah, like I said, if anybody's looking to get banned, say some smart shit in the next like month or two, you'll get banned for sure. I ban more people during tax season than the rest of the year combined. And that's just self-awareness. I'm not saying that's a good thing. Hey, you got to look at it on the bright side. If you have to pay taxes, you're trading properly. Is the unfortunate way to say it, I guess. Good morning, Sam. Not always, Chuck. I don't always mark out the POCs. Mostly value highs, value lows. Sometimes I mark out the POCs. Under what conditions? Nothing particular. It's nothing like exact. It's basically just if I think that the value levels are too far away and I need a closer target, or I need a target like in between, I'll mark the POC. It usually has to be like in the middle. If it's close to one of the value levels, I don't mark it out. You might as well just use the value level. Kind of failing to rotate here, by the way. We rotated down to 36. We tried to bounce, and we're holding it down. It should not be holding it down here. It should be easily bouncing off 36 and rotating back up. So if they continue to hold this down, that is the problem that I talked about earlier. Possibly targeting the tails. Good morning, Joe. Not sure if I saw you. Like I said, Chuck, there's no system. It's just a visual thing. It's like everything else in trading. You can't be exact. You were trading the pre-market, took longs, and just watched the sellers take back control. Yeah, it's just it's a pretty standard inside day. We're just inside of yesterday. It's also just an earnings reaction day. We had a very big company report earnings yesterday, so it's just reacting the way that it's reacting. Nvidia is reacting bearishly, so is the market. I couldn't tell you which one's better. You just got to try them out and see what works. That's the whole point about testing systems and journaling and figuring out which one works with the current market. Little bit of a bull div on Delta here. They are trying to hold on to that 36 level. They're trying to rotate back up here. A video on journaling? Yeah, I don't really know how I could make that video though. It'd probably be like a short. It wouldn't be a very long video. The biggest thing with journaling, I talk a lot about this with my tutoring sessions. Is you don't have to go crazy with it. Like you can go as crazy as you want and get as technical as you want. But in the simplest form, the things that you need are you obviously need to have like the basics, like what time did I take the trade? Was it a buy or a short? Did I win or lose the trade? Like all the basic stuff. But you also need like screenshots of like right when you got in the trade or right before you got in the trade. So you can go back and look at it exactly how you saw it without the hindsight information. And then you can either add screenshots like during the trade, at the end of the trade, all that other stuff. But you really want to see the screenshot like when you decided to take the trade. So you can see kind of what you were thinking at the time. And then you need to write down what the setup is, because that's the entire purpose of journaling. The entire purpose of journaling is to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So if you don't write down why you took the trade, like what setup it was, you're journaling for no reason. You're not helping yourself in any way, right? So like if you take 10 VWAP trades and you write down these are all bear flags in a VWAP and you win 7 of them, I mean, that's a low amount of trades, but you could say just on those trades, you're probably pretty good at trading VWAP. You know what I mean? But if you take 10 POC trades and you write down POC, POC, POC on every single one, and you lose every single one of them, that's probably a good idea that you should stop trading the POC, right? Now, that's like the most basic form. Obviously, there's more that goes into it. But that's kind of the purpose. Once again, failing to rotate. So staying below 36 here targets those lower tails. Same exact thing we talked about in the trade plan. But yeah, the whole purpose of journaling is to break things down setup by setup and understanding which setups you want to continue trading and which setups you need to stop trading. And that shouldn't be based on like 3 trades. It probably shouldn't even be based on 10 trades. I was just using that as an example. You want to do it over a large amount of trades. Now, obviously, if it's 10 trades and you lost every single one of them, that's probably a good idea. But if it's like 50% on 10 trades, then you probably don't have enough information. And then obviously, by just having the information of when you got in the trade, when you got out of the trade, if you add on what you were risking, like where your stop loss was, then you can do all your fancy formulas with what your profit factor is and all that stuff. Yeah, a lot of screenshots. That helps. A lot of notes on like why you got in the trade, like setup wise. What were your thoughts like during the trade? Were you scared of it? Were you over managing it? Stuff like that. I don't recommend like any journaling programs. I don't use any specific programs. You can use like any journaling app, like even outside of trading. They don't have to be trading related. If you want to be more automated, like where it automates a lot of your stuff, then you can start looking into the trading apps. Personally, I never really used the trading apps. I always just used Excel or like a spreadsheet. Or like programs on my iPad, like journaling apps. Because all the hard numbers, they're already built into your broker usually. It's already built into Tradeovate or built into NinjaTrader, whatever it is, right? But if you take a lot of trades a day, then you probably want to go more automated. I don't trade a lot. I trade like 1 to 3 times, 2 to 4 times a day, somewhere around there. And I don't journal a lot anymore. I'm not in that phase of trading. But if I was journaling like all of my trades right now, I wouldn't need it to be automated because I don't trade a lot. But once you start taking like 10, 20, 30 trades a day, you probably want to start automating a lot of it. Where it like pulls your orders and puts it all down. Okay, this is the problem that we talked about on our trade plan. Holding below 36 is a problem. Goes down to 08, possibly 67. Yeah, TradeZella I think has been around for a long time. There was one that used to be called... we used to use it for crypto. It's called Edgewonk, I think it was. I don't know if they're still big. But yeah, I literally, for the most part, just use like a spreadsheet. Like Google Sheets, Excel. But like I said, I'm not really in the journaling phase anymore. I don't journal too much anymore. If I'm testing out new trades that I don't really take very often, I'll journal more on those. You really want to focus on it in the beginning because you need to find out what you're good at, what you're bad at, the trades that you like to take, the trades that you shouldn't be taking. Delta is very bearish, by the way. One of the big mistakes that people make, and I get this question a lot in my tutoring, is when you're journaling, should you start focusing on changing your size based on your journaling? So like you see trades that you're good at, you see trades that you're bad at. Should you start focusing on upping your size on the trades that you're good at? And my answer is always no. You should not be playing around with your size if you're in the journaling process. The playing around with your size comes way later. And I'm not talking about like scaling. I'm not talking about like the sizing guides that I put out. I'm talking about, hey, I like this setup particularly. I'm going to trade double size on this setup. I don't like this setup as much, so I'm going to trade half size on this one. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. You are not consistent enough as a trader to start doing that. That is at the very end. Once you've done everything else, your system is already very consistent, then you want to start playing around and trying to edge out a few more percentage, you know what I mean? That's like the fine tuning at the very end. And personally, I honestly wouldn't even do that too much. I would try to consistently trade the same size. Once you find a size that's comfortable, once again, that's the entire purpose of my sizing guides, if you guys watch those videos. The sizing guides and scaling is helping you find a size that is comfortable for you. You're not like emotionally trading that size anymore. Once you find a size that's comfortable and you're very consistent, you probably want to stick to that as much as you can. But hey, if you've been making a ton of money for like a year, 2 years, and you really want to start playing around with your sizing, fine-tuning it, then go ahead, right? I think people start doing that way too early, and it really hurts them. There's so many other things you should be focused on, is basically my point. Good morning, Techie. Yeah, you could use an AI program, just feed it all your trades and have it like build systems for you, build like a journal for you. Yeah, that's another good thing, Lee, to add in your journal. Like, was it a part of your plan at the start of the day? Did you stick to your plan? Or was it like just a random trade that you saw happen? Did you break your plan, break your rules, stuff like that? keep an eye on those 5-minute highs. We should be breaking those 5-minute highs, breaking the 24 EMA, and rotating back up, but it's ignoring that rotation right now. Yeah, like I was saying, it's a part of the process that everybody should be going through. If you're skipping journaling and you're just trying to go in blind, good luck, right? You're just kind of doing it without having the information to back why you're trading a certain setup. Yeah, and that's the other part of journaling is like finding the setups and figuring out which ones are good, right? If you don't have a setup for a specific market, that doesn't mean you have to find one. You don't always have to be in a trade. But you want to have a couple setups that like you can trade the amount of times you want to trade a day. Like if I want to trade 3 times a day, I need setups that I can easily trade 3 times a day. Like out of all the setups that I teach, you can easily trade the amount of times that I want to trade a day. The VWAP trades, the rollover trades, the sweeps, the I mean you name it, the pivots, the shadings, um the rotations. There's just so many ways that you can build setups that you can hit your number that you want to hit. Like if you want to trade 5 times a day, 10 times a day, whatever. It's just as you increase that number of times you want to trade a day, you have to either have more setups or you have to have very aggressive setups that just show a lot of times, right? And typically, if they're more aggressive, they're going to be losing a lot more as well. Aggressive typically means risky, right? Hey, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate the words. I'm glad you enjoy the stream. Good morning to you. Yeah, I saw YouTube has like a I don't know if my channel has it. It might be only the bigger channels. But I know larger channels have like the AI like auto dubbing. If you don't speak English, it like auto dubs it to your language. And it's probably not exactly perfect. It's probably not like 100%, but you probably get the idea. I don't know if my channel has the auto dubbing. Pretty nuts, to be honest. Yeah, man, we've come a long way with the AI stuff. It's kind of crazy. I think you can add it. I don't think it's an option for me. I think like they have to add it to my channel. I don't know if I can use it because I stream at a very low delay. And when you stream at a low delay, you can't use the live closed captioning, which I'm sure they probably need that for the auto dubbing. Putting in a higher low here. Watch out for that 24 EMA and the 5-minute highs. They might try to rotate here. I'm sure if it's not built into YouTube, there's probably like extensions that you can put on your browser that probably do something similar. Failing the 24 yet again. Very strong failure of the 24. A lot of bearish delta coming in. But now we have a very clear break of balance, and look at where it is. Exactly what we talked about earlier. Here's that lower tail being retested. So we have Tuesday's value coming up. Then we have the low of Wednesday. And then I don't think it's going to get there. It'd be a really nasty day. But worst case scenario would be the low of Tuesday. Right now, we are just retesting this lower tail here. So NASDAQ already getting down to our lower target at 75. So this is a target for a couple reasons. Same thing, lower the tail. And the value here. Finance really green. Large caps pretty red. Pretty green on these smaller tech companies. Just all the big boys. All the big boys are really red. We are only halfway through this candle, but keep an eye on it. Possible single prints going back to 30. Is my main trade in the market profile. I would recommend watching my Becoming an Apex Trader series. It's the top series on my channel, and that goes step by step on all the different like setups that I look for, how I do my charting, how I find my levels, how I do my trade plan, basically everything. Yeah, it basically covers everything. I don't know if I talk about like the exact time frames, but I pretty much I'm pretty sure I do. It's mostly just 30-minute, 1 minute, 5 minute, nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it covers like 99%. Okay, well, unfortunately, I was going to cover this in that recap video, but it looks like it's going to do it a little bit early. I might still make the recap video, but you're kind of already getting the point here. So we just talked about this probably about 30 minutes ago. Same exact thing that happened. Well, funny enough, today's Thursday. Same thing that happened not last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago. Nearly identical. It was coming down to retest these back-to-back lower tails. And here you go, lower tail being retested. This is starting a value retrace, possibly down to 67. Large tape is extremely bearish. So this started as a rotation until it got down to right here. It was supposed to bottom right here. And it was supposed to easily break this downtrend and go back into rotation. It obviously did not. It stayed below the 24 EMA. It damn near stayed below the 8 EMA. And now we are putting in lower lows. So once you did not bounce off 36, the inside balance is dead. Okay, now we are almost certainly going to have single prints back to 29, but we'll see how many. You're just completely wiping out these levels, not respecting them whatsoever. Five-minute highs being aggressively protected. We have not taken out a 5-minute high so far today. Starting to get a little too aggressive. You're pretty far away from this ADMA. Sounds like Anthropic's Claude AI is getting a lot better at just like everything, not just code. When it was first being used, it was mostly just for coding, but it sounds like it's just becoming the top AI. Getting a lot of headlines recently. It's by far the best one I've used for coding, but I haven't really used it for anything outside of that. Do any of you guys use that AI like on a daily basis? I don't think this is a catalyst. I think this is a delayed reaction to the Nvidia earnings because the tech stocks are selling off pretty aggressively. You guys are using it daily. Are you using it daily for just normal things or is it just coding stuff? Like, are you using it kind of how you would use like ChatGPT? You use it for your normie job? You swapped from chat to Claude and it's so much better for daily stuff? Yeah, because I've been looking at places to convert my chat bot, my GPT bot that I've been working on. I've been looking for places to convert it because I'm just not really happy with chat recently. It seems like it's not improving at the rate of these other AIs. It seems like once they switched to 5.0, they just got pretty. It didn't like get worse, but the other AIs are getting better faster. Law's the way to go. All right, I'll take a look at them because I've only ever used them for coding stuff. I've never really used them for like everyday stuff. I'll see if there's a way for me to convert the Athena bot over. Do they have like custom bots, kind of like chat does, but not the custom I. So when I say custom, it's more so how OpenAI does it, where it's like still on their server. You're not paying for like API and all that bullshit. So like semi-custom, I guess is the way to say it. Because custom AI, that's like the full. You're putting it on your own server. You're paying for your own API, all that shit. I don't want to do that. Probably down the road I'll do that, but not right now. Big node building up very quickly at 81. Nearly the POC already. Yeah, so unfortunately, I might make a recap today, but it might have to be like an I told you so style of recap. I don't really like doing those videos, but I was talking about this on the in the morning, like an hour ago, about these tails. And I want to go over this in a video, but unfortunately, it's kind of already happening. Yeah, I think Gemini is good too. I've been using Gemini every now and then. Keep it on the 30-minute close. Single print's going back to 29. Gemini is going to get very good because Google did the really smart thing, which has pissed a lot of people off, but it is really smart. That it's basically automatic now. It is Google now. So when you Google search anything, you are basically automatically asking Gemini. And then it puts the Gemini thing at the top of Google. Which, like I said, pisses a lot of people off that don't want to use AI. But it's very smart for them. Because it's automatically training their AI constantly on Google searches. Yeah, see, Chris, for me, that's just way too much work. I don't want to do stuff like that right now. I don't have the time or the patience. Eventually, I want to get the Athena bot to a point where I can do that, like put it on its own server and do all that stuff, but that's probably like at least a year or two down the line. POC shifting to the low a day. Very, very fast POC shift. Good morning, Anthony. But yeah, I'll take a look at Claude because I'm already paying a subscription for them for the coding stuff that I haven't been using recently. So I need to cancel that subscription and then get one of their other ones for like their normal AI. I've been doing the like Copilot, GitHub, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly, Ram. It's not building the conversation on the Google search, but you are using it. And then you can go into it and build the conversation after that. No, it's not bullish or bearish right away. I guess if you want to say something, it is bearish. But we want to see how it's reacting. And so far, it's reacting by bouncing off of it. So it's not immediately bearish. It's bearish in the sense that it's decreasing value. You're finding a ton of value down here. Turning into a capital B day, large node on the top, large node on the bottom, single prints in between. Because the secondary node is bearish, it's below, or sorry, because the secondary node is lower, it is bearish on the capital B. And what you look for on a capital B is any time that it retests the middle, you have to pay close attention to how it reacts to like the single prints, how it reacts to VWAP, to see who's in control. So if it pops up here to retest VWAP, that could be a very obvious bear flag in the VWAP. We'll see. Do I have to extend my trade plan? I'm about to, yeah. So trade plan was going down to 67, which is basically already hit. So it looks like the worst case scenario that we talked about earlier is possible. Worst case scenario is wiping out this tail here. This is literally identical to Thursday 2 weeks ago. If you don't understand why this is happening, go back and watch my recap video. I think it was my most recent recap video. Might have been 2 weeks ago. But it was talking about this. It was the recap video I put out on the 11th or the 10th, somewhere around there. But I talk about this exact trading style with these tails. I'll make another recap probably today, and I'll go over it again. But extended targets are, I'd say the POC here, around 49, and then lower value at 35. Do I need to extend them on NASDAQ? Yes. So here's our target at 870. Extended target POC 740 and 740 and 680. It's the recap on the 12th. Thank you. Yeah, 12th. That sounds right. Well, you're basically just looking at a monthly profile, which are heavily used by swing traders, right? You can look at weekly profiles, monthly profiles, yearly profiles. And the profiles are always traded the same way. They have the same mentality. So the POC could act like a magnet, is basically what you're saying. Yeah, it's an insane amount of single prints. And of course, it's right after we just finished filling in those other single prints. So this goes back to what I constantly talk about with single prints, and I'll hopefully remember this. I'll talk about it in the recap as well. What do I always say with single prints? We don't know if that move was just filling in the single prints, or is it actually a bullish or bearish move, right? So this entire move up here, look at where it stopped. It stopped pretty much right on that single print. It went a little bit higher. It went a couple points higher. But there was no buy pressure. There was no node above those single prints. So we could go back and say now, obviously in hindsight, it was just filling in the single prints. So same thing for today. If you bounced very aggressively all the way back up and you hit 930 and then it did not find any buy pressure whatsoever above 930, that entire move up was basically bullshit. It's not actually bullish. It's going to go right back down. It was just filling in the single prints, right? Here's our lower targets. That is finishing our trade plan for today. This all started from losing 36. That was our lower trade plan level because that is where the micro pullback had to rotate. It obviously did not rotate. Doesn't seem like there was a ton of bearish pressure, bearish delta. There wasn't that much. There's a little bit. There's probably not as much as you would think for how bad of a move it is. I think that's mostly because the liquidity is not great. Keep an eye on this POC. If you stay above it, you're going to start filling in these single prints. And that goes back pretty damn high, 929. Basically right here. Actually, a little bit higher. Like there. Exactly, Chris. Yeah, there's just the cleanest way to trade is futures. You're just trading the exact price action. You're not trading any of the other bullshit like the deltas and the Greeks and whatnot. Delta in the in the options term. Futures is just the way to go. It's the cleanest way. Just pure price, and you pay a little bit of commissions, and that's it. Nothing crazy about it. The craziest thing about futures is knowing when the rollovers are, and that happens like one day every 3 months. Yeah, Chuck, I don't know if you know what swing trading, like what that term is. That term is just, that's when people trade not scalping, right? When they're taking trades that last like a week or last like a few days or a few months. It's kind of a wide spectrum of trading longer than a day. So if people are swing trading, they obviously don't care too much about the small profiles. They want to see the big profiles. The weeklies, the monthlies, the yearlies. Filling in a couple of single prints here, you have like 20 remaining. There's a ridiculous amount. Yeah, it's funny how that works, right? The VWAPs almost always line up with the single prints when you're retesting them like this. Five-minute highs being taken out for the first time today. Strongest buy pressure you've seen so far. Here is the 24 EMA being taken out as well. Can they put in a higher low up here? It's not similar concepts. It's the exact same concepts. Profiles are treated the same exact way, no matter what size or what like date range they are. It doesn't matter. Volume profile concepts don't really care too much about time. That's why you're using, that's why the whole concept of like market profile exists. Because market profile cares about time, volume profile does not. I would recommend reading Dalton's books on the concepts. He does a better job explaining the like methodology, like why it's doing what it's doing. The auction process and whatnot. I don't get too deep in the weeds on stuff like that. I can't do a good enough job like explaining the deep concepts. Single prints being filled in, you still have a shit ton going back to 29. For that month, it could be, yeah. Like you could be looking at a failure to rotate of that entire month. Yeah, mind over markets, exactly. There's no way to answer that, Ray. It's just completely up to the trader and up to their systems. It's also up to like what the market is offering. There is no, and this is the problem with like influencers and streamers that do finance content, like trading content. They try to teach you like a very concrete go for 5 points, risk 5 points, move your stop to break even, do this every single day. The market's the same every single day, yada, 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 all that bullshit. There is no cut and dry way to answer that. Like, every day trader should not be going for 10 points. Every day trader should not be trading 2 times a day. There's no like, there's no gold standard, right? Once people start realizing, and this is like a shift in your trading, and everyone in chat will get here one day, where you start understanding that trading is an extremely individual battle. It's like an individual process. It's like a light bulb that just turns on in your head. You just figure it out one day. You start understanding and realizing it. It's like I always say when I tell you guys that I can teach you all these concepts. And I can teach you like what a rollover top is, what a bear flag in the VWAP is. I can teach you like where the optimal entry zone is, like where you should be turning your brain on and saying, hey, I want to look for a trade. But I cannot teach you when to press that button. When to press the button to get in a trade, get out of a trade, move your trades around, all that stuff. That stuff cannot be taught. That is a completely individual battle that you have to overcome. And that's what differentiates a bad trader from a good trader or like a really good trader. The really good traders have completely mastered when to press the button. They take the emotions out of it. They follow all their rules. They're very consistent. They're very robotic. And this also goes back to, by the way, keep an eye on VWAP. You're getting very close. 913. This goes back to another reason why I don't show my trades. Is people are always like, oh, I want to see your trades because I want to see like where you entered. But they put that into their brain incorrectly. Where if I show them how I entered a rollover top, they're like, oh, okay, you entered right after that second bar on the top quarter of that bar. Okay, so that's the exact way I want to be entering a rollover top every single time. And that's not correct. That's just why I entered that trade. The next time I take a rollover top, okay, now it's after the 5th bar. Now you're on the bottom half of the 5th bar. You see what I'm saying? Like they just overanalyze the exact reason why I press that button. But what they don't understand is the reason I press that button is because of 20,000 hours of screen time and that intuition that it builds up after having 20,000, 30,000, I don't even know how many hours I have at this point. A disgusting amount of hours. After all these hours of screen time, you build up this like feeling, this intuition. All these little variables are happening at one time. And you just feel like it's going to be a good trade, so you press that button. You can't teach that. You cannot teach that feeling of like, this seems like it's a good trade. Let me go ahead and press the button. And once it clicks, you can't unclick it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you'll figure it out. You'll get there. Even the people that come into my stream and they hate on me and they talk shit and they keep trading, they'll figure it out one day. They'll be like, holy shit, that guy was right. Stalling a little bit early here. Trying to get back to VWAP. Back to like 13. Stalling at 900. And look at where it's stalling. It's that level that we had marked out. This is that prior low. Prior low and prior high. So it's a big level around 900. But yeah, there's a reason why my stream, my community, my content, whatever you want to call it, we're not going to have 10,000 viewers. We're not going to have 1,000 viewers. We're not going to have a shit ton of viewers. But what I can say is I can almost guarantee that we have a higher percentage of traders that are becoming successful and a much higher percentage of traders that are getting payouts than these like giant streams or giant channels that are catering to all this bullshit content and teaching all these wrong ways, right? Whether you like my style or not, I think it is helping you guys become more individuals, right? You're improving yourself. Experience becomes a feeling. Exactly. Yeah, it's that intuition, right? It just becomes intuition. Keep it on VWAP here. So this is a hard one because the daily VWAP and the session VWAP are pretty damn far away from each other. For example, if you shorted the daily VWAP here at 12 and put your stop above it, if it goes to the session VWAP, you're probably going to get stopped out. It's a 10-point move. Depending on, obviously, how wide your stop is. So when they're that far apart, it's always like, and once again, this goes back to the feeling thing. It's always a hard trade to take it on the daily VWAP because you constantly think it's going to go to the session VWAP. And the session VWAP is typically the better trade. Because of that reason, because it's safer, quote unquote safer, right? But sometimes we've seen it happen before. It will just like instantly fail the daily VWAP and then you don't get the session VWAP. And there's no like right or wrong there. Like, do you always trade the daily? Do you always trade the session? It's really just based on what's going on when it hits it. But that is the problem when they're that far apart. You could always try to trade like the middle and try to get a little bit of both. It's just never easy when they're that spread out. I'd say this one in this exact scenario, because the single prints are going above VWAP, the daily VWAP is very dangerous. Because even the session VWAP is very dangerous if you fill in the single prints. So I would say in this scenario, no matter which VWAP you trade, it is a better trade with the trap pattern, where like you go above it for a little bit, then you come back down, you kind of like sweep it. That pattern is safer in environments like this, instead of the pattern of trading it exactly where it is. All right, let's do a quick recap of the levels here. So trade plan below 229, we were looking for 75 and 870. Why were we looking for those levels? It's a value retrace of Tuesday. Why are we bottoming where we did? It's because that is the value low of Tuesday. So now we're pushing back into the 75 level, back to the value low of today, value high of Tuesday. Same story on ES. We didn't quite touch that level. We just barely missed it. Same idea. A retrace of Tuesday. Now we are back into the high of Tuesday. So instead of rotating yesterday, now we are kind of rotating Tuesday. So if it does not go for the single prints and it stays below this 908 level, it's because we are not bouncing to rotate, or sorry, we are not bouncing to repair the single prints. We are bouncing to rotate this value area. They are accepting Tuesday's value. So keep an eye on that 908. It's where we're topping out like to the tick. The levels are beautiful today. You can't really ask for a better chart than today. Yes, Roman, that's another thing we talk about with like high volatility days. If the volatility is very high, you can like cut your size in half so you can expand your target and stop loss. You don't want to do that extremely often, going back to what I talked about this morning. I talked about not wanting to fiddle with your size too much. You don't want to change your size too much. But yes, in a very high volatility environment, speaking of volatility, I probably need to raise the scale here. I will leave it alone. But yes, in a very high volatility environment, you might want to lower your size, expand your levels. Hey, Ryder, have a good day, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, value area is 70%. Yep. Yeah, finance was really green earlier. I'm not sure if it still is. Yeah, pretty green. And then lower tech. The lower tech companies are green as hell too. Very green. It's just large. It's large right now. Large tech. NVIDIA. That's Broadcom, right? AVGO. Google's not doing too bad. Or not doing too good, excuse me. Micron not doing too good. Intel, AMD. That's Broadcom, right? AVGO? Yeah, Broadcom. They're not talked about a lot for how big they are, to be honest. They kind of go by unnoticed, even though they're pretty large. About the same size as Facebook. Yeah, it is a 30-minute sweep. You swept the low of 74. Yeah, I don't talk about them as much as back when we were like heavily talking about them because they're so fast now. They happen very, very quickly. So by the time I want to talk about them, they're already playing out. You can still heavily trade them. It's just hard to talk about. How many single prints do we have left? We got like 10 or so. Yeah, about 10. Yeah, they're definitely still tradable. They're just extremely fast. You have to trade them. You have to be watching them and waiting for them to happen like right away. Like by the time you're like, oh, that was a sweep, it's already up here. It's like trading way up here when you need to trade it down here. Okay, here is VWAP. So like we talked about earlier, we have to see how it reacts to VWAP. Is it going to be more of a trap? Is it going to ignore them, go to single prints? We just don't know. The teal one is the 80 MA, the orange one is the 24. I have a video, I think it's called like how to trade the 8 and 24, like aggressive, responsive. I also talk about it in the new series as well. So far, holding below the daily VWAP here. It is helping the daily VWAP that it lines up with the old value level, kind of holding us down. Yeah, Anthony, it should be on my, I think it's the 4th video in the new series. Or you can just watch like any of my live streams. I talk about it every single morning. This is the chart that I use for trade plans, which I do every single stream. This is not a great look for the VWAP trades when you build a very strong node right below that VWAP. It obviously would be a good look if you were trading below the node, like if you were using the node as resistance, but it's not. It's using it as support. Yeah, I don't talk too much about how my indicators are like calculating things, but what I can say is the pivots don't take into account a ton of volatility. It's mostly price action and volume. My volatility indicators are more so on the bot side. The bots do a lot of volatility. And the Momo is not exactly volatility, but very, very similar. Still hasn't actually touched VWAP. It's very, very close. Keep an eye on both VWAPs and also the single prints going back to 29. How close to the POC is that? That's pretty close. Okay, no strong reaction on the daily VWAP. Let's see the session VWAP here. No strong reaction there. It goes back to the single prints back to 29. This is more like that trap pattern that I was talking about earlier. We'll see if it can re-lose the 24 EMA here. Keep an eye on those 5-minute lows as well. They're being aggressively protected. You have not lost a 5-minute low since the bottom of the day. Keep an eye on these EMAs and 5-minute lows. It would not surprise me if they left these single prints unfilled for now, because they have been doing that recently, where they're not filling them in immediately. They are definitely still getting filled in, but recently they have been a lot slower to fill them in, as we saw with that last Thursday. A lot of things also hitting VWAP here. Google hitting VWAP, Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft. Nvidia is not there yet. Still holding that 24 EMA. Hey, Tim, what's going on? Nothing in particular, just tech sell off. Possible lower high coming in here. Keep an eye on that 24. Haven't lost it yet. Still holding that 24. You're hitting the session VWAP now. And this is actually the daily VWAP on NASDAQ. A lot of bearish delta coming in on this second push. Still no lower high below the 24. All right, we are coming to that time. We're going to start calling it a stream here. Keep an eye on this session VWAP coming up at 9:20. Session VWAP is 155 on NASDAQ. We do have single prints going up to 29 if it ignores that VWAP. Right now, you do not have the bear flag in the VWAP entry yet. You obviously have the pattern. The pattern is definitely a bear flag in the VWAP. But you don't have that like bearish pressure break in the 24. You don't have that trapping pattern, anything like that. The 5-minute lows are still being protected. 24 EMA still being protected. If you start finding value below that 24, below those 5-minute lows, then you can start talking about that bear flag into VWAP. And that would obviously target the same thing it always targets, that prior low. So somewhere around like 90, maybe 80. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if it can hold on to VWAP here. Because if it breaks through VWAP, you're still looking to fill in those singles back to 29. That's still a possibility. But all right, we are over 100 likes. We'll quickly do a giveaway here, and then we'll call it a stream. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys are heading out, I will see you guys tomorrow, same time as always. All right, if you guys want to get entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is pick a number between 1 and 50. Just pick one number. Make sure you press that live button. Make sure your stream is up to date. And if you are the winner, just let me know that you picked that number. I'll double check your chat history. And then I'll have to send you an email, or you'll have to send me an email first. Then I'm going to send you a random number to type in chat so I can confirm it's you. And then once I've confirmed it's you, I'll go ahead and send the promo code over. Which, by the way, if you guys are new here, these giveaways are for Apex accounts. So it's going to give you a promo code for a Apex account, any size you want. It's going to give it to you for free for 30 days. And then after that 30 days, it's going to start charging you normally. Which, reminder, you have until Saturday. Saturday is the deadline to send any receipts you use code BREW for in the month of February. We do these monthly raffles. So any account you use code BREW for, go ahead and send it over to this email. I'll type it in chat a few times so you guys can see it. Send it over to that email. I just need to be able to see the account size, when you purchased it, so like the date, and then the invoice number. How the raffle works is you get a ticket per 50K. So 100K account size, you get 2 tickets, so on and so forth. Giving away Discord access and cash prizes. Cash prizes are done through PayPal. If you're already a Discord member, you can still participate. You can either win the cash prize or I can just extend your access on Discord. Losing the 24 EMA here. Keep an eye on that. I'll give you guys 30 more seconds. Pick a number between 1 and 50. Only pick one number. I will double check. If you pick more than one, you will not win. Okay, now we are losing the 24 EMA. We are losing the 5-minute lows. Now you have that bear flag in the VWAP pattern. So at this point, you have two options, right? Where you want to continue in one smooth motion back down to that prior low. Or if you have a rebound here, like a very quick bounce back, it needs to sell it and put in a lower high immediately. Either one of those two things happening is good for the trade. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll. The last number that I see is Lewis. It is 38. Do we have a 38? Let me know. I'll give you like 30 seconds to let me know. I do see one. Trader Sly. Are you the only one? I think you are. Is there anybody else besides Sly? I see you, Sly. I'll give you another 30 seconds. If you put 38, let me know. I see you, Sly. You're good to go. If you're the only one, you're just going to go ahead and win. No tiebreaker. All right, Sly, it's looking like it's just you. Let me go ahead and put my email in chat. Congrats. Go ahead and send me an email. Let me know what your YouTube name is. And I'm going to send you a random number, then just type that random number in chat. If you guys are heading out, I appreciate you being here. I will be streaming tomorrow, same time as always. I will be streaming in Discord for probably about an hour or so, but I am heading out early today and early tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff I need to get done over the next few days. But I will be streaming for a little bit. Possibly a recap coming out today. Depends on how busy I am. But I will try to put a recap out today before like 6 p.m. You sent the email? Let me take a look. I see. I'm going to send you a random number. Just type that number in chat. Yeah, if you guys are heading out, have a good day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Keep an eye on this VWAP trade. Looking good so far. And this is exactly what I said earlier about when you have a pattern like this, it is safer to look for that trapping pattern where it kind of goes above it and then it re-loses it. You almost had one right here, but it did not break the 24. Then you had it again here, which did break the 24. So this is exactly what I was talking about. If you didn't know what I meant by the trap, this is that trap. When you have that cupping pattern. I talk about this in the third, I think it's the third video. The third video of the new series. I also have like numerous shorts and numerous videos on VWAP. Just type in VWAP on my channel. I see you, trader. So next thing you'll see is the promo code, and that will be for the free account for 30 days. Which, by the way, guys, somebody said that they used my code and it's still giving 80% off. But I didn't see them announce an 80% off sale. But I believe it's still 80% off if you use code BREW. So if you are looking to get new accounts before the end of the month, just be sure to send those to my email if you want to get those entered in the raffle. You have until Saturday. Saturday is the deadline. But all right, guys, I'll see you in Discord. If you're not in Discord, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace, everybody.